Cannot skip the process. Maybe there's something wrong with my device here. Can you still see my screen?
Yes, Ray, that's who was credited for the development of the concept of action
Yes.
research.
I will stop first the sharing, Sir Doc.
Yes, okay.
I cannot change the slide. I cannot really change the slide. Sir Doc, maybe I don't have the full control of the Zoom.
I will make you a host na lang, Ray. Please hold on. Wait. I think you can already. I think you can already screen share based
Yes,
on the.
yes, sir. Yes, Sir Doc. I can screen share, but I cannot move to other slide.
Okay. What's wrong with that? Remove pane. Hello, Sir Craig. Sir Craig. Hello, sir. Sir Craig. Sir, pwede ano si Ray, i-host? Pareho ta duha host. Dili na ko siya ma-host. Sir Ray, there's a suggestion that you can log out and log in for refresh daw.
Okay.
Pero pa-check daw, Dolph. Ako na siya gi-host.
Okay, na-host na siya. Ray, try daw balik na host na ka ni Sir Craig. Okay na, makita na naman yung screen.
Okay, so okay.
Sige daw, try to move.
So the correct answer is it was Kurt Lewin who was credited for this concept of action research. So there is this very important things that we need to consider also when we try to conduct an action research. So the way how we view an action research project, because it might be that current researchers might view differently this concept of action research, because as time goes by, there is this modification of or improvement or innovation to the concept of action research. Now, because before, action research, it is rooted in education. So it is a way of improving educational practices. And then Kurt Lewin has introduced some processes. It's a model proposed by Kurt Lewin on how teacher can make an action research project. And before majority of those professionals in the education sector who practices action research consider action research as a less rigorous type of academic activity. So it is compared to the other two major paradigm of research, the quantitative and the qualitative paradigm before action research was considered as less rigorous. So it means other researcher consider this one as lack the scientific approach or methods, in doing some knowledge generation and uh, claiming of some knowledge and then proving this knowledge to be true or validating this knowledge. But currently, the new development is that some consider this one as a really scientific research. Okay. So second question, what type of ER in which the action researcher takes an existing practice from somewhere else and implements it in their own field of practice to effect an improvement. Let's say if you are a math major or an English major, and then you want to improve your teaching practices or innovate some methods of teaching to improve educational outcome. So what AR is pertain to this type of condition wherein the researcher or the action researcher just borrowed from the existing practice. May I know if you know this one? Can you type in the box? If you don't know this, you just type no. Okay, we have no descriptive literature. What else? Okay, so I guess no, anyone is not familiar with this. No? So this preliminary activity introduced you. Now I will not be discussing to you this in a deeper fashion, but I just run through on this question so that you can have a background of the type of action research. So when you borrow a research methodology coming from existing literature, and then you implement that one to your own practice to improve your own practice. So we call it as a technical action research. So that I cannot again change the screen.
Sorry daw og unshare, stop ang sharing niya, share ang baloy.
Okay. So that kind of action research is what we call technical action research. So again, if you want to improve your teaching practices and you borrowed it from a certain author, from a certain literature, then that kind of action research is what we call a technical action research. How about this? What type of action research in which the action researcher chooses or design the changes made? So meaning you are the one really designing the course of your action. May I know if you know this one? Can you chat in the chat box your answer? If you haven't encountered this yet, just type no. Okay, no. So I guess there's something wrong really. I cannot again change slide. Sir Doc, I think the setting of the Zoom is Because every time I change, I move to another slide.
Stop sharing now, then share again. Sige daw. Okay, so far,
Okay, so I will check for first. So this type of action research is what we call a practical action research. Why? Why is it called practical? Because the teacher, let's say, if you are a teacher, and then you want to improve your teaching practices, so that educational outcomes can also be improved, and then you fit in that course of action, of course, into your own context. So you have to design your own plan now how you can improve your teaching endeavor. So we call it the practical action research. So here you did not borrow any research design, you just simply make your own. How about this? What type of AR in which the action researcher focus is about changing constraints and when one begins to attempt to change the constraints on action? Are you familiar on this? So I guess no. So this is what we call, and I don't know what happens every time I change to another slide. So this is what we call a political action research. Okay, so it tried to change the constraints. Now, if there are in an organization, there are times we feel that something is not okay and we are not into it, and then we know that constraints can still be improved, and so that's why we conduct an action research so that we can communicate the result and maybe perhaps inspire those who are on top level management to change or to improve that kind of constraints in an organization. How about this? What type of AR in which the action researcher aims to changing the status quo, not only for oneself and one's immediate colleagues, but of changing it on a larger scale of the whole social group? Okay, so this one is what we call Sir Deb, can we pause for a while and let's try to resolve the issue? Why is it I cannot go to another slide? Then I have to escape and then share it again. I
so
think there's something wrong sa setting.
settings, which setting? Hello, Sir Craig. Saan na siya? I think naka-host na ka, and then wait, hindi na ka try, sir, na
Settings daw.
try, sir, na share PowerPoint. Share, kanang share, host disabled participant screen share. Host disabled participant share. Sa koan ko na raid, try na share PowerPoint. Ang share PowerPoint daw, Ray.
Ang nakabutang dito is share screen kasi yan. So ko ang end. Oh, here. One can share. I think this is advanced sharing option. The choice is more than I said, assured of one participant can share at a time, multiple participants can share simultaneously. There's no option for share a PowerPoint. I'm into the advanced seat sharing option.
Host naman. Ray, ipa-try share window ko na imo, Ray. Share window. Ni-click mo sa screen share, then window ang i-share para makuhaan tanan.
Video. I think naka-share na siya sa answer daw. Share screen.
Share screen. Asa mo alam mo ikaw ang host actually. Ako dili na ko host actually. Himo ada kong host, Ray. Ray, ikaw na ang host. Ako dili na ko host.
How about this one, sir, Dol? Ito ko na i-try.
Okay na, kana. Okay na, klaro na namo tanan nimo ang kuan. Sige,
Di
try
siya
daw scroll
makuan.
down.
Di siya mo change mo to sa next slide.
Hindi siya mo move sa next slide. Ano siya?
Share screen ako. Share screen. Wala siya window. Enter window. Only share screen. And then PowerPoint.
How is this person screen sharing? Host.
This one. Okay. So
Sige
this
daw.
one is what we call the emancipatory action research. So there is one who got the correct answer. How about this next question? Stop again.
Nawan na sa Ray.
Yes, I will leave the Zoom for a couple of seconds and I will go back, Sir Dog.
Sige go. Okay, try. Wait sa Ray, i-host sa good ko Ray. Ray, i-host, himuas akong host. Ikaw ang host actually. Or dili na ko host. Himuas akong host. Sir Craig, no, host gyapon ka Sir Craig. Please make me a host. Lagi mo si Ray na ang host tanan. Sa
Di
quad
na, ako'y control.
ako sa duwa na sa ko'y control. Ray, palihog dami himo adaming host. Ako ay mo akong host na
Yes.
si Sir Craig sa himong
Asa
co-host.
gini mo select ni Sir Dog ang host?
Sa among name kana sa participant sa right side na ay mo i-click nimo sa akong name na itulo ka dots and then click the dot para may
Okay.
imong himoong.
Sige daw, Sir Dog.
Okay, host nako. Sige. Himo na kong host si Sir Craig ha. Ako host himo ta kang co-host Sir Craig.
Sige. Okay, go.
Okay. Gawas na si Ray. Ray, pwede na ka mo gawas and try to exit. I-close ang imuhang PowerPoint, i-close tanan para maana siya. Meanwhile, while waiting for Sir Ray, kindly would like to remind everyone to sign in the attendance form. The link is posted in the group chat. I mean in the chat box. The link as well as the Google evaluation form, so that we can actually make use of that as the basis in the distribution of your certificates. And also for those who won in the raffle draw this morning, the winners of the raffle draw, kindly make email secretariat.bmts@gmail.com. Kindly send an email to secretariat@bmts@gmail.com so that the secretariat can give you your prize, which is actually ebooks on action research. So again, the attendance and evaluation form is posted in the chat box, and also winners of the raffle this morning, you can send an email to the secretariat.bmps@gmail.com so that we can send to you the link of the ebooks. Okay, well, wait. Okay, while waiting for Saray, we are going to have another raffle draw. Let's have another raffle draw. Let me screen share the wheel of names. Okay, add all, screen share, wheel of names. Okay, I hope you can see my screen. This is actually the wheel of names. Sir Craig, may I ask if makita ang akong screen nga katong spin raffle draw nga spin wheel, sir?
Yes
Makita?
po, visible.
Okay, thank you so
Yes,
much.
the visible.
Okay, thank you so much. So let's have the raffle draw while waiting for Sir Ray. He might be experiencing some technical problem. Okay, the first winner this afternoon, we have Mark Anthony Basco. Mark Anthony Basco, kindly send us an email at secretariat.bmts@gmail.com. Again, Mark Anthony J. Basco, kindly send an email to secretariat.bmts@gmail.com so that you can receive your prize. Remove. Okay, let's have the second winner. The second winner for this afternoon, we have Jorinal Benzon. Jorinal C. Benzon, our second winner for this afternoon. Again, kindly send an email to secretariat.bmts@gmail.com. Let's have the third winner. Our third winner this afternoon is Mika Joy Fonilyan. Mika Joy Fonilyan, congratulations. Our fourth winner is Judy Ann C. Calpez. Judy Ann C. Calpez. Our fifth winner is Leah Luz Aleria Marquez. Leah Luz Aleria Marquez. Congratulations. So those are our 5 winners. Okay, there is a suggestion from the chat box that we are going to make 10 names this afternoon just in case the 5 winners cannot make it this afternoon. So we will add more 5 winners just in case, as suggested, just in case the 5 winners were not able to join this afternoon and they cannot claim their prize. So we can have another 5 set of winners to maximize the participation or the winner, the number of winners this afternoon. Okay, let's get another names. Another 5 winners. We have the 6th name this afternoon is actually Miss Elma D. Abuzo. Miss Elma D. Abuzo. So kindly send an email to secretariat.bmts@gmail.com which is posted actually in our Zoom chat box. Okay, we're down to our 7th winner. The 7th winner this afternoon is Daryl May Payabyab. Daryl May Payabyab. Congratulations. We proceed to our 8th winner. The 8th winner is Fabi Q. Dakipel. Fabi Q. Dakipel. Congratulations. We're down to our 9th winner this afternoon. Our 9th winner this afternoon is Joanne M. Villo. Joanne M. Villo. Congratulations. So we have Joanne M. Villo. Our 10th or last winner for this afternoon is Naven Gerald Q. Garcia. Naven Gerald Q. Garcia. Congratulations. So our 10 winners this afternoon. Just send an email to secretariat.bmts@gmail.com. Okay, let's go back to our Zoom. Maybe Nana humana sa Saray. Ready na sa Saray? Okay, I'll make you a host. I'll make a co-host. Okay, so Ray, nanak ka sa Ray?
Yes, sir, Dog.
Okay, sige, try na.
I'm
Na-co-host
setting
na
my
ka, so
setting
you can
now.
actually screen share na. Try daw screen share.
Can you see my screen, sir, Dog?
Yeah, we can see your screen na. Okay kaayo.
Okay. So, in as much I'd like to discuss now about action research, but I situate this one since we are teachers. Now, most of us maybe are teachers. So I situate my talk on the school city. As I have said a while ago that action research is rooted in education, but other organizations now are adopting this type of research. So again, it was Kurt Lewin who was credited for the development of the concept of action research. So what is action research? So through my readings and through my experience, so I have this realization and insights of what is an action research now in the school setting. So it is action research is just like chasing excellence. It is doing change processes of your action through research. So as you can see, there are two components. You are going to see, or you are going to develop your own action, meaning your own practices in your school through research. Why is it a chasing excellence? It is because we leave the room that there's always a chance to improve. Or perhaps it could be how we assess our students, or perhaps the test scores of our students or the grades of our students that we want to improve. And then there are modes of action research based on its nature as what we have in our preliminary activity. So if you want a project about improving the efficiency and the effectiveness of current practices or introducing new ones, then you can categorize it to another area of research. Or if you want to implement, you have to adopt an idea or practice from somewhere else, or and then using it to develop your own project, then you can have that practical action research. But if you are concerned with working with the existing institutional culture, or perhaps you can have the emancipatory or the social action research. So again, to recall, we have this in our preliminary activity about the types of action research. We have the technical, the practical, the political, the socially critical action research, and then the emancipatory action research. I'll just skip this one because we already have this in our preliminary activities. Now, there are models. Now, when we conduct or design our action research project, take note, action research project. When you say action research project, so there is this starting point, and then there is what we call the ending point. But it doesn't mean that you have to really end your desire, your intention to improve, because again, as I have begin, action research is just like chasing excellence, and we all know, no, by principle that we can really have 100% 100% to achieving what we desire. There's always a room for improvement. So Ernest Stringers have this model of or a design that we can follow in doing our action research. So let's say look into your environment, let's say in school, if there's something to be improved. And then after which you can think of how you can improve, how you can change the process in your school, how you can change your own practices, and how you can improve students' educational outcome. And then after which you plan for it and then act it out. And as you can see, this model is a cyclic process, because action research, again, it will not end. Now, I stated a while ago that there's a beginning. When you say project, there's a beginning and there's an end. However, since we are having a possible research project, it is a continuous process. There is an end, but you will begin with another project that keeps on chasing the excellence, or how you define, or what performance are you trying to desire. Let's say, for example, if you want a 5% increase of students passing in the let examination, and then maybe you can have a research project for that. And then the next year, maybe you can still improve. Let's say, I want to have a 10% increase of those students who will be on top after the let examination, and then you can have that kind of a view. And so there is still a continuous process, even though your project have an ending, but still, you may continue at that cycle. So Kurt Lewin have this model. So first is, of course, not to identify a general or initial idea, and then you are going to collect evidence, and then plan it out, and then you have this course of action, and then you evaluate, then you change the plan, and then you have another course of action. Now, this is very important. Now, when you conduct an action research, let's say you identify a problem in school, but it doesn't like just simply telling your colleagues or your administrator that there is this problem in school. You have to convince them. You have to provide evidence that there is this problem in school. Let's say it is not enough to say that there are students who are still in the developing stage. I'm going to speak in the language of in the Department of Education. Now we have this you have this categorizing of the level of proficiency. We have this the first stage is the second stage is the developing stage. So it is not enough just to say that, let's say, there are students who are still in the developing stage, or there are students who cannot read. Of course, you are going to gather evidence. Okay, so where are you going to collect that evidence? Of course, maybe perhaps you can gather a primary data. If the problem is on reading skill, perhaps you can conduct reading ability tests. Okay, and then try to see if this problem is validated. If you say that majority of the students cannot add fraction, for example, cannot add the similar fraction, and what evidence do you have? So you are going to collect that evidence. Okay, and then after which, if you provide a valid evidence to that claim that there's this existing problem, that's the time that you can create your plan. And then you can choose, no, either you want to have the practical research, you have to have your own design, and then you can have the model. No, you can choose any of this model that I'm going to present. And then after which you're going to have this course of action. Now, this is a very important process, because this is the a point of argument to other scientific research. So remember here, Kurt Lewin has this first action step. Okay, so it means that after the evaluation, there is this possibility that your course of action is changed, meaning the plan. When you have this research, because again, action research is you have the action plus your research to improve your action, there is this change of the plan, which is somehow very not pleasing to the eyes of other, let's say, researcher, most especially those who are onto quantitative research, because these quantitative researchers consider scientific research as something rigorous. So meaning, in your design, if you have this design, along the way, at the course of your research, it should not be changed, because that is your design. It's just like building structure. It's just like building structure. If you have a design, the engineer cannot change the structural plan, else it will collapse. Okay, so scientific research viewed by quantitative researchers just like that. It should not change. If you have your design, along the way at the course of your research, you should not change your design. Okay, however, as you notice here, it is possible that after you evaluate your first step of action, that your initial plan could change so that another action can be implemented. Okay, so it means that there is this failure to maintain the research design, as what quantitativist researchers have claimed, that scientific research should be rigorous, and it pertains to how you design your research. So that's why, as I have mentioned a while ago, before, there is this differing views of what is action research. Do we consider this one as a scientific research, or it's not? This is not a scientific research. And the new development is that other researchers now consider this one as a scientific investigation. So it's still a scientific way of doing things, or finding ideas, or validating claims, or validating our hypothesis, or even we generate our own theory. Another Emily Calhoun has this model. We will not be discussing into this later, this one now, because we lack the time. But if you want not to really dig deep on what is this model all about, then perhaps you can do your own research on this. Also, we have Lawrence Bachman. I suppose, no, if majority of you here who are working in the Department of Education, you notice this one, no, in your SIP or the ESIP, those who are principal, because here the SIP, no, follows this model, but there's one word that they changed. They changed one word, no, in the SIP, but basically it is Lawrence Bachman's action research model. When they create their what we call the strategic implement, the SIP, or the school improvement plan, which is used in the Department of Education. So first, we begin with an observation, and then you're going to plan, and then act your plan, and then observe, and then reflect. So there's this reflection side. So another point to consider, as you can see, there is this word reflection Okay, because quantitative researcher sometimes has this debate. No, there is this debate before about this quantitative research paradigm and the qualitative research paradigm. And one of the point of divergence between the two paradigms is because of the word, let's say, reflection. Okay, because when we reflect, no, maybe perhaps we can integrate our own personal judgment, and it increases the biases. Okay, just like for example, if you collect evidence, like say for example, it gathers data about the perception of, let's say, students about online classroom. Okay, so take note the word perception. Now, for majority of the quantitativist researcher, reflection, perception is something that is needs that is of concern to scientific research because it increases the bias. Because by philosophy in principle, as what qualitative researcher claims, or in its philosophical stance, that qualitative research, no, is more onto personal interpretation of the world. So it means that it is very hard for a science to have a the converging of ideas, because in the first place we have many interpretations, to our reality. So that's why here, uh, before, no, it is a point that other researcher has this debate about considering an action research as a scientific research or not. And after which, just like the other model, of course, you can continue another work which also implements an action research project. After you reflect and you have found out that there are things that need to be changed in your course of action, and then that's the time that you can revise your plan. Then you can act it out, and then you reflect again. Now, in most published research, majority of the researcher really has this reflection side. So that's why we can have the first person in our report to say, I noticed that. Okay, so it is allowed when we do action research. Another model that you can use is Reals action research model. It's just still similar to the first three that I have presented. But here, as you can see here, there is this part in which you can collect and analyze evidence. So here, this is very important, because here we can have really integrated another methods or another design which implements qualitative and quantitative. In the recent development of action research, we have the so-called now the mixed method action research, in which the blending of the quantitative research design and a qualitative research design is used to provide the evidence of your claim. And then we also have this Ellen and Pigot model of action research. As you can see, there is still this part in which the action researcher has to reflect for continuous improvement. And then we have this Hendricks model of action research. Okay, so again, I will not discuss this one deeply, because our interest is on how we can provide evidence of it. And then we have this Craig Mittler. So here there's this planning stage, the acting stage, the developing stage, and then the reflecting stage, and then you share that one, and then you go back again to the planning stage. So this is my realization in my experience. So action research involves iteration of formative and summative evaluations of our current knowledge of action to improve educational practices and help teachers improve educational outcomes, the school atmosphere, and the environment. Okay, so point to reflect. What is it in your practice that you want to improve? So as a future action researcher, you have to think, you have to reflect. What is it in your practice that you want to improve? Why do you want to improve the practice? How do you convince other people, other researcher, other practitioner in your field that you need to have that kind of action research? What action research will you do to improve that practice? Maybe you can adopt one of the models, okay, or maybe you can choose the type of action research that you're going to do. What kind of evidences will help you make judgment about the action you have taken to improve the practice? So this is a very, very important part in doing action research. Now, how do you provide the evidence? How will you collect such evidence? So it pertains to the method. So as I have mentioned, lately it is possible that we can integrate a quantitative design and a qualitative design as a method in our action research. So how do we provide evidence? Let's say, for example, if you observe something in your school, okay, so that you can convince your administrator, your principal, that there is a need to conduct an action research. And as I have mentioned, it is not enough to say that students are not that competent in reading. So how you will provide that evidence? So I have here now a table. Let's say, for example, you can compare your current practice or the current practice performance of your students to the standard. Let's say you observe something in your school, specifically the performance of your students. Let's say all students in grade 8 must at least attain a grade of 75 in mathematics. That's what the standard have said. Okay, but you observe that 230 among the 250 grade 8 students have attained a 75% passing mark for the first grading. And that's the time that you can get the gap. Let's say, what is the gap of these according to the standard? So 20 grade 8 students did not pass the subject. Okay, so that is now your problem. Then second, let's say it could be all 250 students in grade 8 should have no absences in every grading period. However, you observe that 180 grade 8 students have a complete attendance in the first grading period. So it means there are 120, no, not 120. Is it 120? No. There are 70. No, there are 70 students who has absences. So that is the gap. So 70 students have irregular attendance. Then all students, maybe you can have this one. All students must have normal weight. Okay. However, you observe that only 200 pupils among these 250 have normal weight. Then 30 pupils are severely wasted, and there are 20 who are wasted. So forgive me for the term of the word wasted. This is how one of our government has labeled this one, wasted, severely wasted, how they label this BMI of the students. So this could be your initial observation. Okay, and so where are you gathering this evidence? Of course, you can have your class record. Okay, your class record, your personal observation, and then also the periodical examination. Okay, and then you are going to write that one, of course, as evidence. So that is an example of an initial work that you can do, so that you can have a reason why you need to have an action research, because you observe something based on standard and then based on observation. So here we can have it organized. Let's say we can identify topics and gather information about it. Let's say among all of the 3 problems that you encountered in your school, or perhaps in your classroom, okay, you are going to rank. Okay, let's say first gap that you observe, let's say 20 grade 8 students did not pass Math 8. 70 grade 8 students had irregular attendance. 30 of them are severely wasted and 20 pupils are wasted. And then you're going to rank them. So of course, you can discuss this among your co-teachers, okay? There's what we call, in deep ed, we have this what we call learning action cell, which is equivalent to professional learning community, okay? So that's the term of professional learning community, which is equivalent to learning action cell. And then you can discuss among your colleagues. So you can present to them. So these are my problems in my class, in my advisory. And then, do you think it is worth studying and ranking this 20 grade 8 students who did not pass and solve this gap? And then you can discuss and then you can rank. For example, you think that this is an emergent, no, this is of concern, an emergent concern, and you need to do something to so that this problem, no, might can be controlled or mitigated, or perhaps students in the second grading period, and no students will perform the row average performance. Okay, so maybe you can have, no, your criteria. Let's say, which is the most important, which is the most urgent, which is the most relevant to your goal as a teacher, which is the most doable. So among them, no, which among of these three problems, which of these should be ranked first? Okay, so let's say, for example, you have this 20 grade 8 students that pass Math 8. You consider this one that this is very urgent. And I am very confident that I can solve this problem at a minimal number of months. And I think this is the most important because it talks about students' performance. Okay, and then you can have this one. And perhaps you can have this possible action research project. Okay. So, and then you may now analyze. So as you can see, the analysis part of action research does not only pertains to the data that you have. Meaning, after you, let's say, for example, if you have your research design, and then you gather data, and then you start analyzing. So that's the case. You can start analyzing at the earlier stage of your action research. So perhaps you can have the problem tree, no, to analyze the possible causes to the problem. Let's say you have this problem, say 20 pupils with grades below 75. And then you think, what would be the possible reason? And then you start to explore, you start to get data, you know, from your previous data, from your exercises. And then you notice, let's say, for example, many of them, no, all of the 20 pupils are unable to solve linear equation based from your previous records. And that could be the possible cause. See, so you start analyzing, you start investigating even at the earlier stage of the project. Even you still don't have the design, you can start analyzing and provide evidence. Or it could be another factor, let's say poor conceptualization of factory or on factory. So based on your records, based on your short quizzes, based on your oral examination, that students has this misconception about factory. And it could be the reason why in the practical examination, 20 of them got below 75. Okay, and then you can still explore. Okay, so let's say maybe students are unable to solve linear equation, maybe they have poor understanding of the properties of equality. And that's the time that you can still, no, you can gather evidence. So at the earlier stage, you can gather evidence. In your record, you found out that they are unable to solve linear equation, and then they have poor conceptualization of factor, and that's the time you can begin gathering initial data and start validating your assumption. Because this two here, at the second level, is your assumption that causes the 27 pupils to perform at the below average level, as shown in your extant data, meaning in your record, existing record. So to do that, you need to further explore. Why is so? Why are they not able to perform better in solving linear equation and in factoring? And perhaps there are many causes, and then perhaps you can test and you can validate the reason. Let's say it's maybe because they have poor understanding of the properties of equality, because these are related in solving linear equations, and maybe they have this difficulty. And then you administer, let's say, a 5-item examination on these 20 people to just establish or to simply validate this research, assumption you have. And then that's the time that you can say, okay, so this might be the reason, the poor understanding of the properties of equality. And in the second part, let's say poor conceptualization of factoring. Let's say I noticed that when I administer another test on this, so the 20 pupils, I noticed that they cannot really factor numbers. They cannot factor polynomials. So maybe this would be the reason why they perform very low in the examination or in the final test. Okay, so at the early stage, you can now start to collect evidences to validate your research assumption and start analyzing, even you still don't have yet the formal action research design. Okay, so of course, you need to document your action, your initial step, and you can have a narrative for that. Let's say, for example, in order to generate effective solutions for the problem associated with 20 less competent pupils in Math A, I conducted, take note I, because that is self-reflection. Okay, notice in the model, there majority of the models uses the term reflection. So you have to reflect on these. So that's why, again, most quantitative researcher consider the action research as not very scientific. No, it's not. But again, lately, other researcher considers one that it is scientific in the sense that we can apply, in the research part, we can apply the methods that quantitativist researcher are using, as well as those who are in favor of the qualitative research design. Okay, so you can have this narrative. Excuse me. They say, in order to generate effective solutions for the problem associated with 20 less competent pupils in Math 8, I conducted the root causes underlying the said gap and analyzed them using the problem tree. Okay, so remember, you have to collect your evidence. So meaning you have to compile everything that you have at the beginning of your initial step until the end of your first cycle of the action research project. Let's say the immediate causes of the existence of the problem among the 20 grade 8 pupils is the poor conceptualization of factoring and solving linear equation. Attributed to the poor factoring skill are the inability to factor out numbers and polynomials. Meanwhile, pupils cannot solve linear equation due to the poor understanding of the properties of equality, such as addition and multiplication property of equality. Okay, see, so at the early stage, you have this analysis, and then you have this provision of data to validate your assumption. So here you have now this direction. So after knowing the possible causes, what is now your direction? What can you offer to the students to help them improve their performance? So that's now the time that you're going to design, find possible solution. And perhaps you can have the opportunity of 3, let's say 20 pupils with grades at least 75. That is your target, because the root cause said that 20 pupils has a grade less than 75. So your intention is 20 of them should have a grade at least 75. So that is the minimum. So it could be that maybe perhaps they can have 80, 90, 99, 88. Okay, that is your direction. then able to solve linear equation because the problem said that this 20 students cannot solve linear equation. That this student don't has a poor conceptualization of factoring. So this is your direction. So another good understanding of the properties of equality, because this create a ripple on students' performance in solving linear equation, as well as students' performance in factoring. So you can improve how they perform on factoring about numbers and factoring about polynomials. So sample narrative of an opportunity. Again, so there is now a little of analysis and narration of this action. So again, in every action, you have to document to validate your action. So using the opportunity tree, I came up with a possible solution. So this is still possible to the immediate causes of the problem. The pupils must be given appropriate remedial classes by adopting the peer tutoring strategies. Peer tutoring has been reported to impact mathematical competence. So you are now slowly integrating what other education people who are engaged in educational research have said that if you have this peer tutoring lesson, then it creates impact to those who perform very low. And perhaps you might think that, okay, so I will try to use peer tutoring strategy. Maybe I can help these 20 students. So take that. Why is it there are only 20 students, not all the class? So it is because now action research at the micro level is just like that. So it's just giving medicine to those who are ill. Now, of course, you will not give medicine to the people who are okay, to people who don't have illness. You only administer medicine to the people who are ill. So at the micro level, in education, in the context of in teaching our subject, it's just like that. Now we will be just helping those students, those 20 students who are performing very low in our project. Okay, so peer tutoring has been reported to impact mathematical competence, and that's why that is your reason that you will try to have an action research by implementing a peer tutoring session. Okay, so there's only 20. You don't need to include the 500 students that you have to solve this problem, because only 20 of them are performing very low. Sir, the question is, does it not gives a favor to those 20 and not to the all class? Are not does the action does not suggest a how do you call this one, a favoritism? No, it's not. No, it's not. It's because this one will not form part on the grades. Okay, it's just helping them not to develop those competencies. Okay, so what of, let's say, after that one, of course you have to give a supporting document. Now, why do you need to have that peer tutorial? So that's the time that you can start having your review. Let's say, what authors have done to increase students' performance in mathematics or similar content? Do you think this will work out in your case? If you think, then you can adapt. So that's why you have the peer tutorial, because you think it might help your students, because based on reports, based from current findings, that peer tutorial can help, can increase the performance of those who are low performing. Okay. Now, in reviewing your literature, we have this two school of thought. The first one is that we begin with a broad spectrum, let's say globally, and then going to, let's say, our regional level. So let's say in Asia, in let's say in Australia, and then you move to the national level, and then to your context. And then there's this lately, the current development is that It is not necessary. Let's just try to begin with a broader spectrum where as this problem, of course, does it happens all over the world or not. Okay, so here you can have chosen the most similar to your research, starting from the broad one, let's say problems in solving linear equation, and then going to the more similar, and then go to the most similar problem. Okay. So after that one, after you review and you're sure that you want to implement a peer tutoring activity or session, that's the time that you can begin your research plan. Let's say, what description of proposed action do you have? What is going to be done? Okay. What is your rationale? What would be the evidence of the impact of on the goal? Now, who will be involved in your research or in your action research? Do you have cost? Do you have funding agency? Then how long? How long will it take? So you have to specify this one. So example, now suppose you already have the literature review. So you have this narrative. Let's say the National Council of Teachers in Mathematics Standard Exam articulates that there has been a dramatic increase in the level of mathematical thinking and problem solving in the workplace, in professional areas ranging from healthcare to graphics design, and in the scientific and technical communities. This is supported by the Ambrosio, who affirmed that the role of mathematics in society has grown more and more, and its crucial role in the development of modern technological societies is well recognized. Okay, then mathematics not only provides utilitarian skills for normal participation in the society and promotes problem-solving skills for employment, but also produces the abstract as well as the creative knowledge required for technological innovation. So suppose you have that, no? You have that summary based on your research. And then remember, you are going to connect your review of literature to your context. And perhaps you can gather the evidence after you have the gap analysis and crafting your possible solution. Now you can now begin to integrate what you have done previously, your previous discussion with your colleagues. Let's say, for example, the LAC session dated on October 24, 2019 has discussed 3 emerging problems in grade 8 levels. The lab team reported that 20 pupils have difficulty in mathematics, 10 have irregular attendance, 30 are classified as severely wasted according to the BMI record, and 20 are classified as wasted. Among the 3 problems specified by a gap analysis, the lab team considered the 70 grade 8 pupils who have a grade below 75 as the most important, the most urgent, the most relevant, the most doable. Okay, and then you can now start to write your rationale by inserting your literature review, your short review of literature, and then your context. Okay, so you have this realization of these different outcomes in mathematics. Let's have this one first. These different outcomes in mathematics education reflect an increasing level of mathematical difficulty in the transition from real-world abstraction, a transition that is recognized in mathematics curricula. I believe, take note, you have to reflect, I believe that immediate actions must be taken to help these 20 pupils enhance their mathematical competence before the end of the school year. Okay, and then you can integrate them together. So your short review of literature, and then your context based from your lab session, and then of course, you can dig deep further by discussing about peer tutoring in your research design. What is this all about? What is peer tutoring and how you can conduct peer tutorial session. Now, you can develop now your research plan through the evidence that you provide. Now, the question, no, what will the evidence of claims to be provided? You claim that there's problem, and there's problem, and you claim that peer tutorial can help increase students' performance in mathematics in the context that is solving linear equation and polynomial. So are you going to collect, are you going to provide evidence quantitatively or qualitatively? So you have to decide. So if you decide a qualitative design, so you probably can have case study, but be careful when you have the case study, because this is mostly misunderstood by many, because case study can really have an integration of different research method, even phenomenology, no, and even grounded theory can be part in case study research. Okay, you can have this as a possible means of providing evidence to your claim. Or could be an quantitative research design. I believe you are familiar to this. We have descriptive, correlational, group comparison, casual comparative, one-shot case study. So as I have mentioned, a case study could be in qualitative, could be quantitative, could be a combination of a qualitative research design and a quantitative research design, but not it cannot be considered a mixed method, because you can we cannot generalize that one as a mixed method, because you can have a separate study for a case just to validate your claims. Then we have quasi-experimental. Maybe we can have the pre-test or the post-test control group, or we have this one-shot pre-post-test performance design. We can have that one. And very important thing that you need to consider in your action research. So do not treat that what you are doing is an experiment. Okay, this is not an experiment, so it is different. Remember, experiment, no, in its scientific stance, it involves randomization, and then we have this random assignment of the participants and the random selection of the participants. So this is not an experiment. Second, in its practical side, we should not experiment something inside the class. No, we should not experiment. Why? Why I am saying we should not experiment, more especially in action research? It is because, remember, in our class, it is in our scenario, the students are already intact, and then remember, we have to give grades. Now, if in this case you want to have the experiment, there's a question. There is this ethics, no? What happens to those individuals who are not part of your experiment? Okay, will they receive? Do you think they will receive better grades or higher grades or not, compared to those who are on the experiment, who are part of the experiment? So that's why we must be careful in educational context to have the concept of experiment, aside from the participants are already intact, but in the practical side, we should not. Okay, we should not conduct experiment. There is this an issue to ethics on this. So you can have a proposed intervention. So after you choose, let's say you have your review of literature, you believe that maybe this peer tutorial session can help these students solve this problem, then why do you think your intervention will work? So you have to convince. You have to convince the people around you, your colleagues, your principal, supervisor. If you want funding agency, you have to convince them. Why do you think that your intervention will work? What evidence will you provide that this will work? Okay, so this is now the beauty of having a review of literature, because it increases, no, the strength of our research assumption. It increases the strength of our research assumption because of our review of literature. And the question, sir, do we really have to have this extensive review of literature? Not necessary, not essential. Okay, maybe perhaps you can have 10 studies about purchasing or 15 studies is enough. So it is not required to have really let's say 30 references, 40 references, or 50 references for your actual research study. Now, you're going to decide after which, what model are you going to use, what method, because it will cascade to the methods that you're going to use into your design. So you can discuss the following, maybe the research design. Are you having this practical research? Are you having this emancipatory type of action research? And maybe the other type of action research. Who are these participants? Of course, the 20 students. And then what research tool will you use? And how will you collect the evidence or the data that the action research works in your scenario? Okay, so let's say, for example, you can have this narrative. This action research is a technical one following Zing and will utilize a single shot quasi-experimental design. So meaning you borrow a research design, research methodology from Zing and use it into your context. Now, 2 sets of questionnaires will be crafted for pre-testing and post-testing. Content validity and internal consistency of the test will be tested using Coder rejection Formula 20. I believe a majority of us are math majors. I hope so. So you are familiar with this. Then you are going to describe the test questionnaire. Of course, now after you conduct a series of refinement to your research instrument, of course, you are going to describe that one. How did you refine your research instrument? Then the gathered data will be compared using, let's say, what statistical tool if you choose quantitative research and you have a hypothesis, and then to provide the evidence that your action is works in your context. So what test now are you going to implement? So either you have the t-test or the Mann-Whitney U-test or other type of statistical analysis. Okay. Then after which you can collect another data. So remember, you collect data to verify your claim before that there is this problem. Okay, you test further, you explore further what are the possible reasons, what are the possible root causes to the problem, and then you start collecting the data. So another set of data, you can collect another set of data, maybe quantitative or qualitative, now to provide the evidence that your research part, remember you have this action part, and then you have this research part, that your research part, according to your design, according to your research assumption, will works in your context because you borrow it from someone. Okay? So there are some suggested, and in most cases, these are the methods now how you collect data or observations for qualitative. You can have, let's say, field notes, structured interview, semi-structured interview, videotaping. You can have existing documents. You can have previous reports. Okay, you can have journals. Let's say, for example, if students has a journal or teachers has this students journal or portfolio, then you can analyze them also. Then you can have inductive analysis in analyzing qualitative data. Here we'll not be discussing here, but if you want to really have this one, maybe we can have a separate session on this, how we can analyze data which are qualitative and according to what research design. Then quantitative techniques, you can have a survey, you can use a questionnaire, rating scale, you can have open-ended questions, and then possible students evaluation to teachers or teachers assessment to students, student self-assessment, survey, summative and formative examination, and final examinations. So these are just some of the techniques that you can have to gather evidences. And then you can have common basic techniques. You can have survey. You can have like it and like it type instrument. And remember, we have this different according to purpose. You can have endorsement type. You can have frequency type. Then we have test questionnaire as one of the techniques that you can use to collect further evidence. Now, how it is done. So you are going to refine your research material. Okay, your research instrument. Since your design is quasi-experimental, then you have to really ensure that your research instrument can really measure those competencies that is aligned or that are aligned to the possible reason why students perform very low in their practical exam. No, for example, they lack the understanding about factoring of polynomials. Now, though the questions that you have that you created during the gathering of the data, whether your research design works really measures that competency. Okay, so that's why you have to refine your material. Now, for writer type sorting, you can have phase validity and content validity. Then for the tester, you may employ the classical test theory approach of validation. You can have the phase validity. You can have the pre-testing, then revise, then pilot test, then the administration of the material, or it could be you conduct maybe a higher version of checking or to solve this validity and validity issue. Let's say you can maybe conduct exploratory factor analysis, because in mathematics, sometimes when we give items, our items, even it is just a single item, is a multi-dimensional item. How is it possible? Because in on one item, it is very possible that there are many mathematical concepts that is needed to perform that item. Okay, so that's why we have to be very careful. So what do you mean by multidimensional? Let's say, for example, solving linear equations. There are many concepts that may hinder students to perform solving linear equations. Could be maybe they don't know how to perform fractions. Now, suppose your linear equations has a fractional coefficient. So even though they know the concept of the properties of equalities, they know how to operate simple equation. Let's say 2x equals 5. They know that one. And you need to test this competency whether they know how to solve linear equation. But since your items is a multi-dimensional item, so that's the reason that our assessment is also wrong. Okay? Because what you are assessing is this students' ability to solve linear equation. Let's say linear equation in one variable. And then you give items, let's say 1/2 x equals 10. Okay, so when you map that item, there's now the question. Your item might be multidimensional. You can that item really test that competency? Okay, can that really test? Because you just want to know whether students know how to solve linear equation in one variable. And there's this fractional coefficient that might hinder students to continue solving the equation, even though he knows how to solve linear equation. Let's say he knows how to do it. 2x equals 5, he knows how to find x. But in terms of 1/2 x equals 5, he don't know how to do it because he's this missing competency. Okay, so that's why we have to refine our instrument. So what is Q sorting? So Q sorting is based on expert judgment, based from let's say 3 experts or 4 experts. So just like putting number of items. Let's say you have constructed 50 items and you allow these experts to sort it out which of the item represent this competency. If you think this item can measure this competency, then you have to put it in box A. Otherwise, you put it in box B. Okay, that is Q sorting. Then phase validity, you have to check now whether there are errors. Maybe equations, the one that you type has error, or maybe your some of the words is misspelled. Okay, so you have to check for the validity, and then for the content. So the content validity, we can have the again the Q sorting technique, and then we can have a more analytical one. We can have the Lucy way of validating the content of the instrument. And then you can go further. Let's say if you want to conduct, let's say, reduction technique, maybe you can reduce the number of items, then you can do it. So here this is the proposed cycle of how we can develop our research, and then making our instrument. So identify the purpose of your study, and then you can have feedbacks from stakeholders. In this case, you can have feedbacks from your colleagues. Then your research methodology, you can also consult your colleagues or any other experts. Then you can begin formulating the questions. So after that, you can administer, you can pilot test your test material. And then if there's a need to revise, so revise your test material and then pilot it again. And then after which, if you really confident that your material which you use to gather the evidence is refined as intended, then you can use that one. Okay. So in analyzing the data, it could be descriptive or inferential. Sure, is it necessary? For example, I will be having an action research. Is it necessary that I should have inferential? No, it's not. Even though your design, let's say you collect quantitative data, and then you have this quasi-experimental. Again, it depends upon your intention. Okay, what is your intention? What evidence are you trying to provide? So there are two viewpoints. Let's say, are you going to have this research to see to it how many of the students were able to pass? So if that is the case, you don't need to have this inferential statistics. You don't need to have the hypothesis. Okay, you don't need to have the hypothesis because you just simply count. Let's say among the 20, 12 was able to perform at the 80% performance level. So you don't need to have that inferential statistics because your intention is to see how many students will pass based on your action and based on your research. But if you want to really have this rigor of hypothesis testing, then you can have inferential statistics. Let's say, is there a difference in their performance before and after the tutorial? Okay, so you can have that one. But when you say, is it necessary to have an inferential statistics when our design is, let's say, a quantitative research design? The answer is depends upon your intention. If your intention is you want to simply know how many students improve their performance, so you don't need to test a hypothesis. So inferential statistics is not necessary. You can have descriptive, okay? But if you want, then you can have. Then you can have develop an action research plan. So this should be done after having the result of your analysis. Okay, as you can see, after you conducted your action research, maybe let's have 1 month, or you have 6 weeks, and then you gather now the evidence whether it works. So that's the time that you can develop your action plan. So as you can see, we are still in the initial part. Then you can have again to move into the higher cycle, the second cycle, depending upon what model of action research are you using. Okay, remember there are many. So we have PERT, we have PIGOT's model. So it depends upon your model. So sample action template, let's say summary of your research questions and findings, your recommendation, person involved, who will collect the data. So again, even though you have the result, you have this validated that your purchase tutoring activity works, okay? You need to collect another data. Okay, who will collect? Because you need to have another plan. Then who will monitor and evaluate? So you can ask your co-teachers, you can ask your principal, or you can ask external member outside of your school to evaluate your action research. Then when are you going to accomplish your project? What are your resources needed? And if you have budget, then you can have it funded or budget allocation. Okay, and then after completing the entire projects, that's the time that you can share your project and reflect on it and share your project, within the school, within the district, within the division, professional conferences, academic journals, and electronic disseminations. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Sir Ray. So let's now proceed to, I think, open forum if there are questions from the audience or from the members, from the participants. If there are questions, you can post that in the chat box so I can read it for you, or you may turn on your microphone and speak directly. Sir Ray is with us right now to answer your queries. Okay, any questions? Feel free to write your question in the chat box, or you may simply turn on your microphone and speak up.
Good afternoon. Permission to speak.
We have one from PCU, Philippine Christian University, Sir Pierre.
Yes, good afternoon. Thank you, Ray. Wonderful topic. I actually hindi ko naman ask no. Possible ba comes the analysis, yung qualitative and quantitative, it could be both of these.
Excuse me, Sir Ray, nadunggan mo siya, Sir Ray? Murag, from
So
my end, choppy siya.
it's not it's choppy to my end.
Okay. Sir Pierre, maybe you can write your question in the chat box. I understand you might be experiencing internet connection problems, so that's made you experiencing choppy voice. Hindi siya madunggan. Hindi namin naririnig po, sir. Okay, let's have other participants who can raise questions. Feel free to write in the chat box. I'm going to read it for you. In case mahina po yung mga signal natin dyan. Okay, so while waiting for participants and while Sir Ray is still with us right now, let's have first, as requested by many participants, na sana daw marami pang manalo sa raffle. Okay, sige po. We will grant your request. While waiting for questions, nandito pa rin si Sir Ray with us right now to answer your questions. And habang tinatype niyo pa yung mga questions niyo, let's have another participant winner for a raffle draw. Okay, again, reminding everyone to sign in the attendance and fill up the evaluation form. Sir, meron na po dito si Sir Pierre Armen Casinelio. In terms of qualitative and quantitative method, can we use mixed method? Okay, I'll repeat. in terms of qualitative and quantitative methods, can we use instead of, I think, instead of qualitative and quantitative method, can we use mixed method? Phase array?
Okay, thank you for this question. It's very important also that the researcher knows what is this mixed method, what is a mixed method research study, because there are also misconception in this. Let's say, for example, in a research, you collected two data types. Let's say you collect numerical data, and then you collect also an interview. Let's say, for example, you have this scenario. I am conducting let's put it in that way, the peer tutoring activity in our example. You collect the numerical data, and then you want to know also the experiences of the students now about their if there is an improvement to their perception about themselves and their behavior towards mathematics now after the action research project. So you collect data. Okay, you have collected the data, which is qualitative in the form of you collect data in the form of interview. Now the question, is that a mixed method? So that's the question. Is that a mixed method? The answer is no. Okay, that is not a mixed method. You just have two different types of data, but it is not a mixed method. Why? Because a mixed method, there should be the basic element is that you should have a convergence question connecting your quantitative result and the qualitative result. Okay, so meaning it could be you conducted a separate research which is quantitative and conducted another separate research which is qualitative, and then you have a converging question to blend the two researches, okay, which is quantitative and qualitative. And it could be you have many it could be that your mixed method is heavily anchored on a quantitative data, quantitative research method, and so you have this how do you call this one? This configuration qual, and then you have this big Q for quanti if it is heavily anchored to quantitative, and then if it is the qualitative is just a supplementary research, and then you have the small Q. But again, if you just simply collect data which are quanti and quali, and then that quali side, it doesn't have a design on itself, it is not a mixed method. Okay, you're just simply triangulating you're just simply gathering data to supplement whatever outcomes that you have, but that is not a mixed method research. Okay, but for your question, pwede ba natin gawa ng mixed method? Yes, pwede. No? Why? Because remember, you have to validate your claims. You have to validate. So in as possible, if you can do it, so much the better. If you can have quantitative research in quali and then blend it together to have a mixed method research design to support your findings or to validate your findings, so much the better. Okay. Is it clear who's questioning, Sir Doc?
Yes, sir. Okay. Thank you so much.
Yes, just like case study, case study is misunderstood because case study, you can have a pheno, and then you can have let's say a grounded theory, and then studying one research, okay? Meaning you have a case to study, let's say processes in your organization, you want to study that one. And then you have a pheno, you conduct a pheno research, and then you conduct another research to study that case. Okay? So pwede siya. So sa action research is the same, we can have that one to support the evidence, because duha man siya action. You have the action part, you have to document your action part, and then you have the research part, and then you can use those scientific principles that is rooted on the two major paradigms, the quantitative and the qualitative research, and then you can have another one which is the mixed method.
Yes, sir. Yes po. Sir, thank you. Noted po.
Okay, you're welcome,
Thank
sir.
you so much.
You're welcome, sir.
Okay, thank you so much, Sir Pierre, for that clarification or question that help also enrich the learnings of our participants. Sir Ray, meron pong nag-request here sa chat box. Pwede po ba makahingi, Doc, ng isa sa mga nagawa mong action research para po magiging batayan po namin sa paggawa ng marami pang action research sa aming classroom? Maraming salamat po. That is from Nursub Maricel S. Pales.
Yes, I am working now on a project and it's soon to be published. I will be presenting this one sa TestCon. So after it is published, I will share the manuscript.
Okay. From that note, Sir Ray, kailan po yung TestCon, Sir Ray?
TestCon November, I think November 18, 19. Yata, yung
November 8.
TestCon.
Tapos na po
Yeah.
ba ang submission of abstract ng TestCon, Sir Ray?
I think they open again. I'm not sure if until when. I heard yesterday that they reopened the submission of abstract.
Okay, so for the benefit of everyone of the participants here, maybe Sir Ray, we can share to them the link na just give me the link na lang, Sir Ray, para upon distribution of certificates, ibibigay ko na din sa kanila yung link sa TestCon para madami yung makaparticipate.
Okay, sige.
Okay, thank you. Sir Ray, any other questions from the participants? Let me check the chat box. Baka meron na nag-chat. Okay, so far wala na. Again, reminding everyone the attendance form is posted in the chat box, as well as the evaluation form is also posted in the chat box. And winners of the raffle draw send email to secretariat@bmts@gmail.com. Then, as a request from many of the participants, kung pwede ba mag-raffle ulit para daw naman manalo sila sa prizes. Okay, to grant your request, here we go. Okay, let's roll. Let me check the raffle draw. Okay, here is the raffle draw. Okay, the spin of whale. Okay, so I hope you can see my screen. So Ray, makita nga kung ang screen, Sir Ray?
Yes, yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. So let's start. Let's pick 10 names this time. Again, as requested by many participants, we will pick 10 names. Please don't forget, if your name is called, send email to secretariat.bmts@gmail.com. Okay, here we go. First name is, we have Sabina B. Conoy. Again, Sabina B. Conoy. Okay, congratulations. That's our first name. We'll select 10 names. Let's have another. By the way, reminding you to send email to secretariat@bmts@gmail.com. We have Agustin Joel Seaman Lapas. Agustin Joel Seaman Lapas. For those who still have questions, you can use the chat box where you can type your question para masagot po ng ating mga speakers ang mga questions ninyo about the topics presented. Our third winner, Roy Q. Castillo. Again, third winner, Roy Q. Castillo. Send an email to secretariat.bmts@gmail.com. Our fourth name is Lolita Bell box. Our fifth winner this afternoon. Fifth winner is Engineer Chinglo Q Indias. Again, Engineer Chinglo Q Indias. Congratulations, our fifth winner. Don't forget to send email to secretariat.bmts@gmail.com And fill up the attendance as well and the evaluation form for your certificates. Abigail Salarda is our 6th winner this afternoon. Abigail T. Salarda is our 6th winner. Next, our 7th winner. Our 7th winner is Mary Giselle J. Edoloverio. Mary Giselle J. Edoloverio. Our 8th winner. Don't forget to sign in the attendance and answer the evaluation for your certificates. Reggie A. Boncawel. Reggie A. Boncawel. Next, we have Sunshine B. Sabanal. Sunshine B. Sabanal. Our last, we're down to the last name, the last winner. Our last winner is, we have John Ray C. Beronges. John Ray C. Beronges. Congratulations to the winners. Don't forget to send an email to secretariat.bmts@gmail.com and sign in the attendance as well as the evaluation form. Meron tayong questions sa chat box. Test con. Kindly check in your chat box. The link for the test con is posted in the chat box so that for the benefit of all the participants who will be presenting, who will be presenting their papers in the conference, you can present your paper at the TestCon 2022. Ang link ay nasa chat box po. Okay, any other? Wala na pa tayong questions? So I think it's about time for us to give the certificates to our speakers. Kung wala na pong mga questions. Okay? By the way, kindly prepare the virtual background para po sa ating pictorial. Kindly prepare the virtual background para po sa ating pictorial. Let me try to send here sa... Pwede bang maka-attach dito ng nandito pa ba yung virtual background? Let me see the virtual background para po sa pictorial natin mamaya. Kung nandito pa sa chat box ang virtual background na link. Okay, let me check the virtual background link. I think nandito pa sa chat box ang link ng virtual background. So that we can have a group picture. Let me see. Mukhang wala na. Virtual background is here. The virtual background. Okay, I will post here in the chat box the virtual background para po sa pictorial natin maya-maya. Okay? So at this juncture, let us present the certificates to our speakers. Okay. So you have here, let me read to you the citation. Basic Education Math Teachers Society, BMTS, presents the certificate of recognition to Dr. S. Canagaswari Sophia Shanmugam in grateful recognition of her dedication, cooperation, and expertise as resource speaker during the International Seminar on Data Analysis in Action Research Virtual on November 5, 2022 via Zoom, given this 5th day of November in the year of our Lord 2022 Philippines. Signed, yours truly, the President of the Basic Education Math Teacher Society. Congratulations. Thank you, Dr. Canagaswari. Then another same citation. Tinood jud ay nga dili mo tinood jud ay Sir Craig, Sir Rain na dili siya mo kuan. Dili siya mo mutab. Kung saan ka ni siya. Anyway, so let's proceed to the next certificate for ano mo dyan siya mag-share eh? Ano? Okay, certificate to oh my god, yan, di man na siya. Hindi siya ma-share. O, diba? Hindi siya ma-share. Hindi siya ma-share. There's some technical issue here in our Zoom account, maybe. Okay, so same citation, certificate of recognition to Dr. Craig and Refugio. Thank you so much. Our dear speakers, Dr. and Dr. S. Kanagaswari Shanmugam. Thank you so much. So announcement, fill up the evaluation form for your certificate and also fill up the attendance form. So let us have our group pictorial. Okay, mag-pictorial na po tayo. Kindly turn on your camera. Sorry po, di po na nagana sa akin yung virtual background. It's okay, sir. It's okay po kung di gumana yung virtual background. Ano na lang. You can actually join us kahit walang virtual background kasi mas maganda sana yung ano. Close. Okay, so dito tayo sa first pane. Okay, kindly turn on now your camera para makita po tayo lahat. Sige. I-arrange natin yung mga hair. Okay. So we are here in the first pane. Just smile lang po ha. Smile lang po kayo kasi you do not know as to which pane po kayo na belong. Okay? I'm here taking, pwede din kayo mag-screenshot sa mga laptops ninyo. Okay? I'm smile. Sige, mag-screenshot po ako dito. Ready? Smile. Smile lang po kayo. Nasa first pane po ako. Hindi natin alam kung saang pane kayo makikita. Okay, smile po kayo ha. Continue lang. Continue smiling. Kasi I'm taking down, I'm making screenshots of all the panes. Okay, I will now go to the second pane. Okay, smile lang po. Wow, ang ganda ng mga smile natin. Ang tamis ng ating mga ngiti. Ang tamis ng ating mga ngiti. Okay, I'm already done in the second pane. So I'll go to the third pane. Okay, nasa third pane po. Madami pong hindi naka-camera on sa third pane. Okay, third pane, there you go. Okay, I will proceed to... Okay, I will proceed now to the fourth pane. Fourth pane, smile lang po tayo dyan. Continue po tayo sa pag-smile. Fourth pane. Okay, balik tayo sa first pane. Smile lang kayo lahat ng mga naka-turn on ang camera. Balik tayo sa first pane. Baka hindi nakapasok yung iba. Ready? Smile yung mga naka-on ang camera. Okay, there you go. Okay, balik tayo sa second pane. Balik tayo sa second pane. Kindly turn on your camera. Okay, there you go. Oops, naglag na siya. Okay, smile, smile, smile. Ang tamis ng ngiti ng ating mga ngiti. Ngiti ng bawat Pilipino. Ang kinabukasan ng batang Pilipino. Ngiti ng burong Pilipino ay kinabukasan ng mga estudyanteng Pilipino. Thank you so much, everyone. I'm done taking pictures. So we are going to send your electronic certificate hopefully this week, or we will try our best to have it sent to you within this week. Kasi medyo madami-dami po tayo nag-attend, and we are also giving you the link of the video. Save po namin siya. I-end na po natin yung okay, meron pong nag-message sa chat box that we read. Congratulations to Philippine Christian University MBA students under Dr. Ruben. Thank you, Sir Ruben. Congratulations. Thank you, sir, for your very active participation. And also, I would like to acknowledge yung mga schools, the Gross Oriental State University, Western Leyte College, Jose Rizal Memorial State University. Yung mga naka-acronym dito sa chat box, SVC. Ano po ulit yung SVC, Ma'am Soria? I'm sorry. SVC. Jose Negros Oriental State University, meron din tayong from Philippine Christian University, from Foundation University, from St. Vincent's College pala siya ang SVC. Okay, Western Leyte College from Patao National High School. Okay, I hope I acknowledge all the names of the schools. Bautista Elementary School, Marilao Elementary School, Northern Quezon College Incorporated, Liluan National Technical Vocational School, Brasiano Banugon Memorial High School, and Matabang National High School. Thank you so much for joining in our webinar today, International Training on Data Analysis and Action Research. And also, if ever you have other questions or concerns, feel free to join the Facebook group. The Facebook group, ang Facebook group po natin, i-chat ko sa chat box ay BMTS Inc. Ito po yung Facebook group natin. For more updates or baka meron kayong gustong itanong sa mga officers or among the members, you feel free to ask questions or ask assistance, especially sa mga gumagawa ng mga action research. Yes, you're welcome. Thank you so much, Dr. Sir Ruben. Yes. And also, if you have questions or queries, yung mga concerns nyo about conducting research, about data analysis, feel free to message any of the officers. Yung mga officers po natin sa BMTS are actually posted sa Facebook group. And also, for those who wish to join us in our endeavor sa BMTS na magiging representative or magiging member ng facilitators group, member ng technical team, we are actually welcoming everyone to join us in our endeavor. So for your benefit, we are actually providing certificates every time you join us as facilitators, you join us as members of the technical team, members of the working group committee or the working group. We are giving out certificates because this is actually your opportunity to meet other officers and members of BMTS, local and abroad. This is your opportunity to collaborate, research projects and research endeavors. Just message any of the officers if you wish to join us in our activities as facilitators, trainers, or officers. Feel free to message any of the officers. Okay? Thank you, everyone. This is the BMTS President, Rodolfo T. Awanso Jr. saying thank you and goodbye, everyone. We hope to see you in our next event. Thank you, everyone. Goodbye.
Thank you po.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you
Thank you
po.
very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you,
sir.
Thank
Thank
you.
Thank
you.
you, speakers.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much.